Chapter 41 Shrek Academy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After his cultivation level broke through the soul sect, the system told him that he could try to make a more advanced storage magic weapon, and this more advanced storage instrument can be used permanently. Tang Lu arrived 5 days before Tang San. During these 5 days, after he bought the materials according to the system's requirements, he tried to make 5 of them, each with 10 cubic meters of storage space. He kept 2 for himself for emergencies, and sold the remaining 3 for 10,000 gold soul coins each. Therefore, Tang Lu is not short of money at all now, but money cannot be spent carelessly. This is a rule he has always followed in his previous life. At that time, after all, he had to support himself alone, in addition to food, clothing, housing and transportation. There are also high tuition fees to pay, so, cherish your little money and stay away from Flanders. The next day, Tang Lu left the Rose Hotel before dawn. Under his clothes was little Funy, who was still sleeping. He was wrapped in a black robe and covered his face with a hood. Then he walked out of Soto from the south gate of the city, walked towards Shrek Academy. When a hint of fish belly white appeared in the eastern sky, he had just arrived at the small village where Shrek Academy was located. Lifting the corner of his hood, Tang Lu began to practice the purple demon eyes. Since the purple demon eye entered the subtle realm, he obviously felt that the speed at which his eyes absorbed purple energy had become much faster. Maybe this is also the reason why his mental power has improved. After practicing, he silently walked to the side of the path, sat down against a tree, and began his daily morning reading. Of course, he didn't read it out loud to avoid being regarded as an idiot by Dai Mubai, who was not far away and had already started to help Li Yusong place tables and chairs. Even so, Tang Lu, who came here so early, was still extremely dazzling to Dai Mubai. What's more, Tang Lu was still wearing a black robe that covered most of his face. While helping to move the table, Dai Mubai had already looked at Tang Lu intermittently several times. However, although he was curious, he did not come to disturb Tang Lu. After all, although Tang Lu was dressed a little weird, he didn't seem to be here to stir up trouble. As the sun gradually shines in the sky, people come to Shrek Academy to sign up one after another. The first level is to confirm age and cultivation, but so far Tang Lu has not seen anyone pass it. When he finished his morning reading for an hour, only 3 people passed. At this time, little Forney, who was sleeping in his arms, also woke up. Of course, he woke up from hunger, so Tang Lu took out the soul beast meat jerky specially bought for little Funy from a storage magic weapon he made himself, a black ring worn on the index finger of his right hand. The dried meat that little Forney ate was one of its prey in the Star Dou forest, a spirit beast with weak attack power but extremely smart, made of Tangrui rat. Although little Funy was 100,000-year spirit beast, its appetite was not much more than that of ordinary animals, so Tang Lu could proudly say that he could afford to raise it. Moreover, Xiao Funy no longer needs to excrement and defecate after entering 100,000 years, so it also saves Tang Lu a lot of trouble, so that he does not need to be a shit shoveler, but only a feeder. After Xiao Funy had eaten, he went to sleep again, and Tang Lu also stood up from the ground at this time, and then walked deeper into the village, preparing to look around and relax his brain after reading in the morning. According to his estimation, when he came back, Tang San and Xiao Wu would basically arrive. Dai Mubai, who had been standing next to Li Yusong as a thug, immediately saw Tang Lu getting up, and couldn't help but be curious about what he was going to do. After seeing that the other party just walked towards the inside of the village, he was a little puzzled. Didn't this guy, who sat for more than an hour and fed pets, just look like a kid, sign up for Shrek Academy? If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't leave now, he actually wanted to catch up and see what Tang Lu wanted to do. Tang Lu didn't leave for too long before he came back. This was because there was no more interesting place in the village. At the same time, he was also afraid of going too far and getting lost and not being able to find him back. Finally, because he is wearing a black robe, it is easy to give people the feeling that this guy has evil intentions. When Tang Lu came back, he happened to see Tang San and Xiao Wu walking to the back of the registration line and lining up. A smile could not help but appear on the corner of his lips, but he still did not queue up. Instead, he walked to the tree and leaned against the trunk. His departure and return naturally attracted the attention of many people, including Dai Mubai, Tang San, and Xiao Wu. Dai Mubai was still curious about him, while Tang San and Xiao Wu started talking quietly after seeing him again. "Brother, look at the man in black robe over there, is he a teacher from Shrek Academy? But why are he standing there?" Xiao Wu said, with a curious look in her big eyes, "And I don't know why, it always feels like he is looking at us." Tang San nodded, "I feel the same way. Moreover, the other party actually gave him a sense of intimacy. By the way, Dad said that when I go to the Intermediate Soul Master Academy, he will send Xiao Lu here. Could it be that? No, that person looks like a 7 or 8-year-old child, which doesn't match his age." Subconsciously, Tang San thought that Tang Lu, whom he had not seen for 6 years, should not be any worse than himself. So after looking at him twice more, Tang San withdrew his gaze. Tang Lu, who had been paying attention to Tang San, guessed what he was thinking after seeing him look away, so now he felt extremely depressed. At this time, Dai Mubai, who had been curious about him, also came over, walked up to him, looked down at the guy who had just reached his lower chest, and said, "Hey, little guy, I see you are staying here. It's been a long time, do you want to come to our Shrek Academy to register? Have you graduated from junior college?" Because of Tang Lu's figure, Dai Mubai subconsciously regarded him as a child. Hearing this, Tang Lu felt a sense of evil in his heart, so he joked, "How can you be sure that I am a little guy without seeing my face? What if I am a short old man or a dwarf?" That he also specifically lowered his throat to make his voice sound deeper and hoarse. Dai Mubai listened to his milky voice that was deliberately lowered but still difficult to conceal. After finishing speaking, Tang Lu himself was speechless. It doesn't matter that he's not taller, but his voice is still that of Yazi when he was a child. "Go away, I don't want to talk to you. The teacher over there is going to call you." Tang Lu crossed his arms, his expression and voice extremely depressed. Of course, with the hood behind him, others couldn't see the expression on his face. Dai Mubai. But Tang Lu was really right, because Li Yusong really called him next. "Mubai, come here, someone wants to repay the name fee, you can do it." Li Yusong said lazily while leaning on the chair. "Yes." Chapter 42. Otherwise, why don't you squeeze your skull? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dai Mubai returned to his position, and then released his martial soul. 3 soul rings, 2 yellow and 1 purple, circled around him. "If you want to get your tuition back, just beat me." The evil-eyed white tiger's domineering attitude was fully displayed. After seeing the soul ring on his body, the parents and students stopped. After seeing that no one was making trouble anymore, Li Yusong said, "Our Shrek Academy only accepts monsters, not ordinary people. Before you come, you'd better understand our recruitment rules, otherwise you will just give us gold soul coins." "Ah, I know, you only accept monsters who are no more than 12 years old and have soul power above level 21. Tang Lu complained in a low voice, but he also felt a strange sense of holiness in his heart. Check in. Shrek Academy, I just don't know if Shrek, who gives all the protagonists such an extremely strong sense of belonging, can make himself feel the same. Tang Lu was very curious and looking forward to it. At this time, most of the parents who were lucky enough also left with their children after Li Yusong showed the strength of the Soul Emperor. The originally long registration queue suddenly became shorter. Tang Lu took a deep breath and said, "I finally left." After seeing Ning Rongrong's registration, Tang Lu walked directly behind Zhu Zhuqin, who was the last one in the queue, and waited quietly. What made him depressed was that Zhu Zhuqin, the youngest among the 7 monsters, was actually about 1.6 meters tall, which was much taller than him. Please quickly turn me into 17 or 18 years old and let me have my original height of 1 meter and 80 meters. His action of walking over and lining up attracted the attention of many people. Dai Mubai and Tang San's eyes originally fell on Zhu Zhuqin, but instead fell on him. Of course, I didn't watch for too long, because it was Tang San and Xiao Wu's turn to sign up. After releasing his martial spirit, Dai Mubai led them in. Soon after, it was Zhu Zhuqin. After successfully signing up, Tang Lu watched her turn into an afterimage and disappear at the gate of Shrek Academy. Now Tang Lu was the only one left outside. He opened the hood of his black robe, took out 10 gold soul coins given by Tang Hao with a sense of ceremony, paid the registration fee, then looked at Li Yusong and said, "Grandpa, I also have a kind of practice on my hands. Soul skill, but the table is a bit high, and my flexibility is not very good, so, how about you squeeze the skull, Li Yusong. Seeing the extremely serious expression on Tang Lu's pretty little face, he was a little speechless, but still said, no, you roll up your sleeves and I'll just take a look at the bones in your arms. Well, indeed, Xuanyu hand only turns the forearms and palms into hard cold jade, and has no effect on the arms. Tang Lu neatly rolled up his sleeves, revealing his fair skin. Li Yusong reached out and squeezed his hand. While confirming his bone age, he said, I didn't expect you to be 12 years old. I just developed late. Tang Lu smiled, then, should I release my martial spirit now? Li Yusong nodded, let me take a look. He raised his left hand, and the void spirit blue silver emperor grew out. Then, 2 soul rings, one yellow and one purple, rose from his feet, and then came around the blue silver emperor on his left hand, no longer moving. At this time, little Funi's eyes were shining slightly under his clothes, hiding the black third soul ring that should have appeared. Oh, the second spirit ring is at the 1,000-year level. Li Yusong looked at the 2 spirit rings on Tang Lu's martial spirit in surprise. Well, my father gave me a lot of heavenly and earthly treasures to improve my physical fitness, so my second soul ring can absorb thousands of years' worth. Especially the whale glue, I almost vomited after eating it. Tang Lu looked at him with a look on his face. Calmly making it up. Li Yusong. I always feel like my wealth is being shown off. However, this year the Academy has welcomed a lot of little monsters. With a slight cough, Li Yusong said, you passed the first test. Now I will take you to the second round of soul power testing. If your soul power exceeds level 25, you can go directly to the 4th round of testing. Oh, that's no problem for me, I'm level 29. Tang Lu withdrew his martial spirit and deliberately lowered his spirit power to avoid attracting too much attention. He doesn't like trouble. Oh. Not bad, not bad. Li Yusong glanced at him in surprise and smiled. Soon, he took Tang Lu to the location of the second round of testing, and then took the crystal ball for testing soul power from the invigilator. Come, give it a try. He handed the crystal ball to Tang Lu. Tang Lu took it and input the 29th level soul power into it with a calm expression. 6 years of soul power compression allowed him to control his soul power extremely accurately. A situation like what happened when the martial soul awakened is no longer possible. Okay, another little monster. Li Yusong looked at the crystal ball releasing the light of level 29 soul power, smiled and patted his shoulder, then turned his head and thought about the people in the distance ahead who were leading Tang San. Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing shouted to Dai Mubai who was walking towards the 4th round. Dai Mubai, wait a minute, there is another classmate here, you can take him directly to the 4th round too. Tang Lu put his hood back on when he entered the academy, so he wasn't afraid of being seen by Tang San. Follow them. I will continue to see if anyone has signed up. I wish you success. After Li Yusong finished speaking, he turned around and left. Tang Lu ignored the envious looks from the colleges next to him who were waiting for the second round of exams, and walked slowly towards Dai Mubai and others who stopped there to wait for him. On the way, it is inevitable to pass by Uncle Oscar who is buying sausages. Tang Lu stopped and said, classmate, how do you sell sausages? Seeing that there was business, Oscar, who was a little disappointed, suddenly became energetic. Junior, this big sausage of mine is absolutely delicious, and if you eat it, you will be able to pass the exam more easily. It only costs 5 copper soul coins each, and you are absolutely innocent. What do you think, would you like one? Oscar said earnestly. Sell. Well, let's have a big recovery sausage and a small detoxification sausage. Tang Lu said. Huh? Oscar was shocked by what he said. Stop it, you only have big sausages here, hurry up and make me a small one. I'm useful and I'm in a hurry. Tang Lu suppressed his laughter and urged. Huh? Oh, okay, I have a small sausage. As the soul curse was recited, a small antidote sausage was made. Tang Lu took bamboo skewers and skewered the large sausages and small sausages. After paying a gintum a coin, he ignored the confused Oscar and left. However, after taking only 2 steps, he stopped, turned around and said to Oscar, "By the way, classmate, do you have the lovely, fragrant and tender tofu, and the delicious and fragrant clove of garlic?" Oscar. Chapter 43 Reunion. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Tang Lu ran away with a smile and came to Dai Mubai and others who were waiting for him. "Sorry for the long wait." Tang Lu apologized first. "It's okay, let's go." Dai Mubai shook his head and took the lead, "But, do you really want to eat the sausage made by that guy? You heard his soul curse just now, right?" Maybe it was because of the blood connection that Tang Lu subconsciously let himself and Tang San get closer. Hearing Dai Mubai's words, he replied, "You and that uncle are classmates. I don't believe you haven't eaten it, and I don't believe you don't know the effects of his sausage." This was the first time Tang San and Xiao Wu heard Tang Lu make a sound here. Fortunately for Xiao Wu, she had only seen Tang Lu in Chisha, but she still couldn't recognize Tang Lu's current voice. As for Tang San, he felt that the man in black robe in front of him was more familiar, but he still didn't dare to conclude that this man in black robe was Tang Lu. Dai Mubai hesitated and couldn't speak, and glanced at Zhu Zhuqin subconsciously. Coincidentally, Zhu Zhuqin was also looking at him at this time, but there was a hint of teasing and disgust in his cold beautiful eyes, as if he was saying to him, "Is Oscar's big sausage delicious?" Then Dai Mubai became a little annoyed and said to Tang Lu, "I have indeed eaten it. Although Oscar's sausage has good effects, the soul curse is really disgusting." "Well, then that's disgusting." Tang Lu shook the sausage in his hand, not wanting to get too entangled in this issue. Dai Mubai didn't speak again, just silently leading the way. Classmate, my name is Tang San, your name is?" After seeing no one speaking, Tang San opened his mouth to talk to Tang Lu, wanting to confirm his identity, but before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Tang Lu. "I don't want to talk to you who is over 1.7 meters tall." Then he ran away with a look of disgust on his body. Tang San. Although he was scolded, he didn't know why he couldn't get angry at all. Soon, Dai Mubai led them to the venue for the 4th round of assessment, and then saw a short, sturdy man sitting on a chair with his eyes closed and concentrating. Dai Mubai hurriedly walked over and said to the big man, "Teacher Zhao, I have brought over the candidates for the 4th round." "Oh, there are finally candidates who can come to the 4th round this year? Not bad, let me see. Oh, there are still 5. The burly man opened his eyes, and a flash of light flashed in his eyes after seeing a few people. With a hint of excitement, "In that case, I will come to play with you personally. You guys listen up, now your last round of tests is to survive my attack for as long as a stick of incense. If you pass, you will successfully pass the test and be admitted to the academy. If you fail, you will all leave me. Now, I will give you a stick of incense to get to know each other, and then the assessment will begin." As soon as he finished speaking, he took out a stick of incense, pinched it with his fingers, and the incense was lit. Then, he tossed it gently, and the incense stick was deeply inserted into the soil without shaking at all. After doing all this, he closed his eyes again, sat on the chair and ignored everyone present. Dai Mubai walked over with a wry smile and began to explain to them the horror of that man. Zhao Wuji, Tang Lu, who remembered the original text, was not interested in listening to him, so he took little Funi out of his clothes and started to stroke the fox. In fact, little Forney refused at first. After all, it is a jade fox that is 100,000 years old. What kind of dignity does it have if it is touched here and there like a pet? But the moment Tang Lu's hands landed on its fur, it smelled really good. Well, it's so comfortable. Just like this, go a little to the left, then a little higher. Several people sitting cross-legged saw the little Forney that Tang Lu carried out, especially the women. Their eyes lit up when they saw the cute look of the little Forney. Even the cold Zhu Zhuqin couldn't help but look at little Funi a few more times. "You go on, don't pay attention to me." Tang Lu saw Dai Mubai's slightly dissatisfied look, so he said, "If we want to last as long as a stick of incense under Teacher Zhao, we must first cooperate well. How about this, let's talk about each other's martial arts and soul power levels first, so that we can understand each other better. Tang San said, and then got up. Then there are Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing. When she mentioned Ning Rongrong's 7 treasures glazed tile pagoda, everyone couldn't help but cast surprised glances at her, except of course Tang Lu. Finally it was Tang Lu's turn, and everyone looked at him. Hey, let me tell you, now that everyone has introduced themselves, do you still want to wear that black robe of yours? Dai Mubai looked at Tang Lu and said in a dissatisfied tone. Tang Lu ignored him, stood up, hugged little Funi, then walked towards Tang San, and finally sat down next to him. Tang San was a little surprised, but surprisingly he didn't move away. After putting little Funi on his knees, Tang Lu began to untie the black robe on his body, and then said, "My name is Tang Lu, I am 12 years old this year." At this time, he lifted his hood and revealed his face. Then, everyone present was surprised by his childish but unparalleled handsome face. After hearing this, Tang San was even more excited and speechless. My martial spirit is the Void Spirit Blue Silver Emperor, and I am an auxiliary soul master. Tang Lu said calmly, as for the auxiliary effect of my soul skills, you will know when the battle starts later. Xiao Lu, you're back. As soon as Tang Lu finished speaking, he was hugged by Tang San beside him. Xiao Lu, you didn't tell me earlier when you came back. Xiao Wu on the side also looked very excited and said reproachfully. Oh, okay brother, I know you miss me, but let's pass the assessment first and then decide. Although Tang Lu's tone contained a hint of disgust, there was a smile on his face. Being hugged tightly by Tang San, he didn't resist, but rather enjoyed it. When he was a child, the person who hugged him the most was not Tang Hao, but his brother Tang San. Are you brothers? Dai Mubai said in surprise. Yes, I am his twin brother. Tang Lu nodded. Xiao Lu, I haven't seen you in so many years, are you okay? Where's Dad, is he okay? Tang San asked somewhat earnestly. Don't worry, he's doing very well. He just can't worry about you these past few years, and has been taking me to watch you from a distance. To you, you haven't seen us in 6 years, but to us we can see you almost every day. Tang Lu smiled, picking out some things from the past 6 years and telling Tang San. Although it was just a trivial matter, Tang San listened to it with great interest. Chapter 44 Battle with Zhao Wuji. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ahem, although I don't want to disturb the reminiscing between you two brothers, the assessment is about to begin now. Are you ready? At this time, Zhao Wuji stood up from his chair and interrupted Tang San and Tang Lu. Said. Brother, let's pass the assessment first, and then we can have a good talk. Tang Lu stood up first and looked at Zhao Wuji. Okay. Tang San also stood up and rubbed Tang Lu's half-length hair. However, looking at Tang Lu who couldn't reach his chest, Tang San always felt a little weird. Don't worry, my dad raised me very well. He didn't starve me, and I didn't have stunted growth. Tang Lu saw what he was thinking, so he said. Tang San nodded and said with a smile, then you have to work hard to grow taller. Humph, I'm still young anyway. Tang Lu rolled his eyes. Are you ready, little guys? Zhao Wuji smiled. Teacher Zhao, let's get started. Tang San took a step forward, protecting Tang Lu and Xiao Wu behind him, and said in a deep voice. Okay. Zhao Wuji lit a stick of incense again, and then stood there without moving. Come on, let me see what tricks you have. Tang San and Ning Rongrong released their martial spirits, while Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing were possessed by martial spirits. However, they both have 2 yellow soul rings. Tang Lu smiled slightly, stuffed little Funi back into his clothes, and then released his martial spirit. The crystal-like vine stretched, and the ethereal blue-silver emperor slowly grew. Then, 3 soul rings, 1 yellow, 1 purple, and 1 black, rose from under his feet. This time, the soul ring was not attached to the void spirit blue-silver emperor, but was rhythmically surrounding his body. Soul Lord, 10,000 years soul ring. Zhao Wuji's pupils shrank, and then he laughed loudly. Okay, there is a nice little monster. Although I don't know how you did it in the third soul ring, you can absorb the 10,000-year soul ring, but as a student, I'm determined. He was straight-minded and only cared about the fact that Tang Lusanhuan had a 10,000-year soul ring, and didn't care about how he was able to fuse it. Moreover, didn't his second soul ring also absorb the 1,000-year soul ring? Fudo Minggu doesn't care about this at all. The more monster it is, the more he likes it. The way Dai Mubai, Zhu Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu looked at Tang Lu changed. However, despite being surprised, assessment is still the most important thing now. If you are curious, just ask after the assessment is over. Not short of this amount of time, and absorbing it means absorbing a 10,000-year soul ring. Can it be fake? After Tang San was stunned for a moment, he only felt happy. The stronger his brother is, the more gratified he feels. Zhu Zhuqing, go and carry out your mission as an assassin. Tang Lu shouted, and then his second spirit ring shone. I saw a transparent blue vine with golden lines quietly wrapped around Zhu Zhuqing's left arm, and then her graceful figure disappeared. Invisible? Zhao Wuji said softly, a little surprised. Xiao Lu, give me the control of the virtual spirit. Tang San said, although 6 years had passed, he still remembered his brother's #1 soul skill. Coming. Tang Lu responded, then the yellow spirit ring shone, and the same vine wrapped around Tang San's left arm, but Tang San didn't become invisible like Zhu Zhuqing, but now he had a virtual state. After adding the void spirit control, Tang San immediately activated his first soul skill, entanglement. Blue-silver grass swarmed out and quickly entangled Zhao Wuji. A mere blue-silver grass, you want to trap me? Zhao Wuji laughed and was about to break the blue-silver grass with all his strength, but soon, he let out a cry of surprise and uncertainty. What happened? That it was clear that he was tied with blue-silver grass, but when he exerted his strength, it seemed as if he didn't touch anything, and the strength naturally fell into the void. He. Tang Lu laughed maliciously. In fact, there are some paradoxes in his first soul skill. For example, Zhao Wuji's current situation is that the blue-silver grass obviously restrains him and prevents him from moving, but he cannot touch these blue-silver grass at all, but it is this paradox that makes his first soul skill extremely useful. At this moment, a dark claw light appeared, and it was the invisible Zhu Zhuqing who took action, the first soul skill, Netherworld Thrust. Pointing directly at Zhao Wuji's eyes, so Zhao Wuji had to release his martial spirit to resist Zhu Zhuqing's attack. Soul power surged, and Tang San's blue-silver grass was finally cut off by the soul power radiating from his body. He quickly raised his hand to block Zhu Zhuqing's attack, and at the same time, he also grabbed her with his other hand. Zhu Zhuqing launched the attack and naturally came out of hiding. The vines on her left arm also disappeared, but at this moment, another vine appeared out of thin air on her left arm. The next moment, Zhao Wuji's hand passed through Zhu Zhuqing's body, and Zhu Zhuqing also passed through Zhao Wuji's body. She was just stunned for a moment, and then immediately gave Zhao Wuji a Netherworld 100 claw. For a time, the sound of gold and iron colliding continued to sound. The 7 treasures have names, one is called strength, the other is called speed. At this time, Ning Rongrong also recovered from the shock caused by Tang Lu's spirit ring and began to assist everyone. The 30% improvement instantly brought Zhu Zhuqing's attack to a higher level. At the same time, Xiao Wu also took action. Every time her toes tap the ground, she will be ejected 4 to 5 meters away. In one breath, she arrived in front of Zhao Wuji, locked his neck with her feet, and then used her first soul skill, the waist bow. At this time, a large amount of blue-silver grass was wrapped around Zhao Wuji's feet. As Tang San pulled with controlling crane and capturing dragon, his whole body slipped backwards. Coupled with Xiao Wu's waist bow, Zhao Wuji was suddenly thrown into the air. At the same time, Zhu Zhuqing, who was waiting for the opportunity, took action again. The Netherworld Thrust caught up with Zhao Wuji's figure in the air, and then the Netherworld 100 claws were released. Sparks kept flashing from Zhao Wuji's body. But he released his martial spirit, and his defense power was so amazing that Zhu Zhuqing couldn't do anything to him. As soon as Zhu Zhuqing's attack ended, Xiao Wu's attack continued again. She stepped on Zhao Wuji's lower abdomen, causing him to fall heavily to the ground. At this moment, 2 strands of blue-silver grass wrapped around the waists of Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing, pulling them back to Tang San. At this time, The stick of incense had only burned nearly a third. Yes, you are very good. Zhao Wuji stood up with a smile, but next, it's my turn to attack. As soon as he finished speaking, the first soul ring on his body lit up, the first soul skill, Fudo Mingwang Shen. A circle of energy visible to the naked eye rushed out quickly, and just when it was about to reach a few people, Tang Lu's dark third soul ring quietly lit up. Host, Tang Lu, male, age, 12. Soul power, 43. Martial spirit 1, Void spirit blue silver emperor, soul ring 3, soul skill, ethereal protection, specify up to 10, can be upgraded, units and apply ethereal protection to them. In the next 5, upgradable, seconds, all attacks, including special effects, directed at units with ethereal protection will be exempted from 95% of their maximum damage, or the theoretical optimal effect of reducing special effects, 90%. At the same time, units with ethereal protection applied will gain 60% damage immunity for an additional 5, upgradable, seconds. It cannot be added again during the effective time of Void Spirit Protection. Chapter 45 The Third Soul Skill of 10,000 Years. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The next moment the soul rings shone, a vine appeared on the left arms of Tang San, Xiao Wu, Ning Rongrong, and Zhu Zhuqing at the same time, while Tang Lu's ethereal blue silver emperor rolled back in the palm of his left hand. Zhao Wuji's attack also hit them at this time, but they stood there as if nothing was wrong, without even batting an eyelid. Zhao Wuji. The Soul Master has the clearest feeling about his own soul skills, so he clearly felt that when his first soul skill hit Tang Lu and others, he only had a negligible attack power left, and the little remaining attack power is just like scratching an itch for them. Is this the 10,000-year soul skill? Tang San was a little surprised, but his reaction was not slow. He used the first soul skill again, and the blue-silver grass swarmed towards Zhao Wuji. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing also rushed out together with Tang San's blue-silver grass after being stunned for a short time. The second soul skill, the concealment of the virtual spirit. Tang Lu used his second soul skill again, but this time it landed on Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing at the same time. I saw that Zhao Wuji, who originally wanted to attack Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing, had to stop the soul skill he was using because of the disappearance of the two people. At the same time, Tang San's blue-silver grass also arrived and tied Zhao Wuji up again. Zhao Wuji tried his best to break free, but the feeling before appeared again, so he had to use his soul power to cut off the blue-silver grass, but at this moment, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing, who had used their invisibility to get behind Zhao Wuji, also launched another attack, but Zhao Wuji seemed to have been prepared for it, as the third and second soul rings on his body shone one after another. The third soul skill of the powerful Vajra, enhanced gravity. The second soul skill, the powerful Vajra Palm. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing, who were still attacking Zhao Wuji, were instantly half-bowed on the ground, unable to move. At this moment, Zhao Wuji's bare paw struck towards the two of them. Seeing that Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing were unable to escape, Tang Lu's third soul ring shone again. The Void Spirit's protection instantly acted on Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing, and then 90% of Zhao Wuji's gravity enhancement effect was eliminated. The most intuitive expression is that Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing can move again, but Zhao Wuji's Vajra Palm was faster than them, so even though Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing had already started to dodge, they were still hit partially on their bodies by the Vajra Palm. The next moment, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing were swatted away by Zhao Wuji. If it weren't for Tang Lu's ethereal protection, and if Zhao Wuji himself didn't use his full strength, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing might have been wiped out on the spot. Although Tang Lu's third soul skill was very effective, after Zhao Wuji strengthened his soul power output, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing basically lost their ability to fight. I saw that Zhu Zhuqing was hugged by Dai Mubai outside the field, and his whole body was weak, while Xiao Wu was pulled back by Tang San's blue-silver grass. At this moment, Zhao Wuji jumped up high and came towards Ning Rongrong, Tang Lu and Tang San. At the same time, the fourth soul ring on his body also lit up. The fourth soul skill, positioning tracking. Lock skills. Tang Lu curled his lips, his second soul ring flashed, and he, Ning Rongrong, Tang San, and Xiao Wu and Tang San's arms disappeared immediately. At the same time, Zhao Wuji in the air was also shocked to find that he had lost his lock on Tang San and Tang Lu. Does this kid's second soul skill still have the effect of unlocking it? But this is not enough for them to defeat Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji suddenly landed on the ground, and then instantly activated his first soul skill, Immovable King Ming. The manic light wave spread rapidly around, quickly covering the invisible people. Due to the attack, the effect of the void spirit's hide was lifted, and several people appeared one after another. Moreover, when Zhao Wuji activated the immovable Ming King body just now, Tang Lu once again applied ethereal protection to everyone, which offset most of the damage. Otherwise, just this one attack would have almost wiped them out. However, void spirit's protection is different from void spirit's control and void spirit's hide. As a 10,000-year soul ring skill, and its effect is so powerful, Tang Lu consumes a lot of soul power every time he uses it. With Tang Lu's soul power compressed twice now, it can only be used 4 times. One can imagine how huge the consumption is. If it weren't for compressing his soul power, I'm afraid his third soul skill could only be used to save his life. If he used it in the most critical moments, he would still be able to use it as frequently as now. The incense stick was only half burned at this time. Boy, are you running out of soul power? Your soul skills are very good, but how many more times can you use them? Zhao Wuji looked at Tang Lu and smiled. Stop talking nonsense, it won't be a problem to do it 10 to 8 times more. Tang Lu's words would have been more convincing if he hadn't looked so pale. Okay, then I'll see if you can really use it 10 or 8 times. However, if you can let me use the 4th soul skill, I will definitely admit you. Zhao Wuji laughed. Said, and then used the 2nd soul skill again, the powerful Vajra Palm. Tang Lu naturally used the void spirit protection again. Under the protection of the ethereal guard, everyone was naturally not harmed, but they were also blown back very quickly by the wind of the powerful Vajra Palm. With the last use of void spirit guard, Tang Lu's soul power was basically exhausted, but Zhao Wuji obviously didn't intend to let him go, so he rushed towards him again and punched him. Before anyone arrived, Fist Jean arrived first. Tang San's blue-silver grass was too late to take Tang Lu away, so if Tang Lu wanted to avoid Zhao Wuji's attack, he could only use void spirit control on himself. Tang Lu did exactly this, but his expression suddenly changed, and his first spirit ring flashed twice in a row. At this time, Zhao Wuji's fist also landed on him. The expected scene of the fist force passing through Tang Lu's body did not appear. What actually happened was that Tang Lu was knocked away by this huge fist force. Tang Lu's figure flew upside down, but the green little fox penetrated from his clothes, and then looked around with a confused expression. The next moment, it was frightened and ran towards Tang Lu, who was flying backwards, at an extremely fast speed, and just above its left front paw, there is a small blue vine coiled around it. Zhao Wuji stopped moving forward, frowning and looking at the little fox running towards Tang Lu. He was still wondering why Tang Lu didn't use his first soul skill to protect himself. It turned out to be the little fox in his arms. Although Tang San failed to pull Tang Lu away before Zhao Wuji's attack arrived, he still stopped Tang Lu from flying upside down. It's just that his current situation is a bit bad. Blood is flowing from the corners of his lips, and his consciousness has fallen into a coma. Little 6. Tang San's eyes instantly turned red. Dad asked himself to take care of Xiao Lu on his behalf. But what about now? On the first day he saw Xiao Lu again, he watched helplessly as he was knocked into a coma. Chapter 46. Tang Hao is here to beat someone up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, little Funi also ran over. His figure instantly transformed into the size of a tiger or a lion, then snatched Tang Lu from Tang San's hands and carried him on his back. While running away from a distance, it did not forget to look at Zhao Wuji with a vicious look and bared its teeth. After running far enough, its body emitted green light, slowly treating Tang Lu. Please help me support Xiao Wu. Tang San glanced at Tang Lu from a distance, and then handed the helpless Xiao Wu to Ning Rongrong next to him. Teacher Zhao, I want to start this assessment again with you. Knight. Hey, this little monster is really ruthless. Zhao Wuji touched his face that was extremely swollen after being hit by Tang San with the clear sky hammer, and then he bared his teeth. Humph, But Flanders will definitely be very happy this time. There are so many little monsters here at once. Zhao Wuji. At this time, a deep voice sounded directly in his ear. Who? You pretender, come out. Zhao Wuji immediately stood up and shouted angrily. I've heard of King Fudo My Oyo for a long time, so I came to see him today. Come out, I'll wait for you. The voice said so. Zhao Wuji sneered, okay, I want to see who dares to come to our Shrek Academy to cause trouble. When I catch you, I must make you look good. As he said that, he looked for a breath and ran towards the outside of Shrek Academy. Soon, he entered a remote forest. I'm here, I can feel you here, come out. Zhao Wuji shouted. Not long after he finished speaking, a tall and burly figure wearing a black robe and a hood slowly walked out of the darkness. Are you just pretending? Zhao Wuji sneered. It's not about pretending to be a ghost. I just saw how happy you were bullying those kids this morning, so I felt itchy and wanted to try bullying the younger ones. The man said calmly. The big bullies the small. Just you. Zhao Wuji said disdainfully. You will know when the fight starts. Without further ado, as long as you can hold on under my hand for more than one stick of incense, I will leave immediately without saying a word. That man, Tang Hao, spoke again. After saying that, he walked slowly towards Zhao Wuji. For a moment, an extremely concentrated power emanated from him, causing the surrounding trees to tremble. Fallen leaves were flying in the forest, but they couldn't get within 3 feet of him. Taking another step forward, 2 yellow soul rings rose from his feet. Zhao Wuji sneered, his face full of mockery. Taking another step, 2 more purple soul rings rose up. Yes, at least the soul ring ratio is optimal. Zhao Wuji shook his head disdainfully and said, in the 3rd step, what rose this time were 4 soul rings as dark as ink. Contra? Not bad. But I am a powerful soul saint, and even if I have Contra in my hands, I can't get rid of it. Zhao Wuji's expression became a little serious, but his tone was still full of ridicule. Meaning, however, after he said this, he could no longer speak, and even his whole body was trembling, because, at this moment, the only thing left in his field of vision was the bright red that rose at the end, like blood. Fong fong fong, 10 10 10, Do Huan. He couldn't speak clearly. Tang Hao had already arrived in front of Zhao Wuji, but he stopped, and then said lightly, since you are here, let's come out. Anyway, beating 1 is still a beating, and beating 2 is also a beating. The sound of leaves rubbing could be heard from the nearby tree, and then Flanders fell down from above. Then he bent down and bowed to Tang Hao and said respectfully, Your Majesty Haotian, I wonder where Zhao Wuji offended you. Zao Wao Ki, Sigma. How, Haotian Douluo? Zhao Wuji's voice changed. Stop talking nonsense, beat the younger one, and the older one will naturally come to help vent his anger. This is a natural thing. What's more, you just beat up both my sons. Tell me, how do you want to die? Me, I have never beaten one of them before, and I was reluctant to beat one of them. I only wanted to use coercion or spank him. But you, Zhao Wuji, were better, and you beat both of them with just 1 spank. And he punched Xiao Lu as hard as he did. Tang Hao casually threw the hammer to the ground. Zhao Wuji's heart trembled at the same time as the forest floor. I won't embarrass you. I don't use martial arts. As long as you can hold on to a stick of incense under my hand, forget it. Otherwise, you have to do something for me. Tang Hao sneered. The next moment he withdrew the clear sky hammer, and then punched Zhao Wuji's bearish face unceremoniously. A sad scream echoed in the woods. Flanders took a few steps back silently, not daring to intervene or speak, but he did dare to gloat. If he wasn't afraid of being implicated, he might have laughed out loud at this moment. When Tang Lu woke up again, it was already the early morning of the 2nd day. Opening your eyes, you will see the wooden rafters above your head, turning sideways. He saw another bed with quilts neatly stacked on it, but no one was there. The soul power in the body has basically been completely restored, and the injury on the chest that was hit by Zhao Wuji no longer hurts at this time, and seems to be completely healed. Suddenly, he felt something move beside his hand, and his eyes moved down, and then, a small cyan had appeared in his sight, looking into each other's eyes. He saw the joy in the fox's eyes. "You're awake." Little Forney said, "Thank you for saving me yesterday." Although, Zhao Wuji's punch would not cause any harm to it. Tang Lu smiled and shook his head. "I said I won't let other soul masters hurt you, and I will definitely do it." He picked up Little Forney and then sat up from the bed. "I happen to be hungry too, so I'm going to eat now." After tucking Little Forney into his clothes, Tang Lu put on his shoes, opened the dormitory door and walked out. The door opened, and the fresh morning air hit his nostrils, clearing Tang Lu's somewhat cloudy brain. As if he heard the sound of him opening the door, a figure jumped out from the roof. "Xiao Lu, are you awake? Are you okay? Does your chest still hurt?" That the one who jumped from the roof could not have been Tang San. "Don't worry, brother, I'm already recovered. With Xiao Funi's treatment, this injury won't be a problem," Tang Lu said. "Little Funi." Tang San was stunned. "Oh, it's your jade fox, right? Well, I caught Little Funi when I went to get the third spirit ring. A lonely century-old jade fox. I looked cute, so I caught it and raised it." Tang Lu started making up things again. Little Forney felt a little complicated. Chapter 47. I've seen them all. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Well, but the jade spirit fox seems to be a purely auxiliary amplifying spirit beast. How can it have healing ability? Tang San asked doubtfully. Because Little Forney is a mutated soul beast. Tang Lu said that he had already thought of the excuse. Tang San showed a look of sudden realization, and then a look of expectation on his face. "By the way, Xiao Lu, tell me in detail how you and your father have come here in the past few years." "Brother, don't worry, I'm so hungry now. You take me to find something to eat first. I'll tell you on the way." Tang Lu rolled his eyes and said with a grimace. Tang San slapped his forehead and said, "Yes, I'm a little hungry too. Let's go call Xiao Wu and then eat together." After saying that, he pulled Tang Lu towards the girls' dormitory. "Brother, don't you live with that Oscar?" Tang Lu asked curiously. "If I go to live with him, then who will take care of you?" Tang San said matter-of-factly. "Same." Tang Lu nodded. "Do you know where I can eat?" "I don't know, just wait and see where there is smoke." Tang San said. "Oh. It seems that I still have to meet my Hongjun soon." They arrived at the dormitory where Xiao Wu and Ning Rongrong were. Tang San knocked on the door and said, "Xiao Wu." Soon, the door opened, and Xiao Wu walked out cautiously, making a silent gesture to them. "Shu, Rongrong is practicing." After closing the door softly, Xiao Wu smiled and said to Tang San, "Let's go." "Sister Xiao Wu." Tang Lu said hello first. "Xiao Lu, long time no see, I feel like you haven't grown up yet." Xiao Wu first rubbed Tang Lu's hair hard and said with a smile. "Sister Xiao Wu, please stop rubbing me. If you rub me any more, I might not be able to grow any taller. You'd better rub my brother." Tang Lu hid behind him and said helplessly. Xiao Wu smiled and said, "Xiao San is also my brother now, how dare I rub him?" "Huh? Is there anything in this world that you don't dare to do?" Tang San said with a puzzled look on his face. Xiao Wu's face turned red. She raised her hand and punched Tang San, scolding, "Fuck you, why are you talking?" Tang San laughed, seeing the blatant show of affection between them. Tang Lu felt as if his head was shining with an extremely bright light, so he let go of Tang San's hand and said, "Third brother, I suddenly don't feel hungry anymore. You guys go find me. Eat something. I haven't fully recovered my soul power yet, so I'm going back to practice." "That's it, see you later." Tang San and Xiao Wu looked at Tang Lu, who was gradually running away, a little confused. "By the way, brother, I'll talk to you about Daddy tonight." Tang Lu, who had already run some distance away, didn't forget to turn around and said. Tang Lu naturally didn't want to go back to the dormitory to practice. After all, he was still hungry. "Although I was caught off guard and stuffed a mouthful of dog food just now, my stomach still needs to be filled. he arrived at the boys' dormitory area and was going to ask Oscar where the canteen was. Otherwise, he would ask him to get him some sausages to fill his stomach. However, he didn't know where Oscar lived, so he could only search from room to room. Fortunately, there were only 3 cabins in the boys' and girls' dormitories respectively. Apart from the one he and Tang San shared, one of the remaining 2 rooms was definitely occupied by Oscar. However, Tang Lu's luck today was obviously not very good. He opened the door recklessly and saw Dai Mubai, who was naked and about to change clothes. "Sorry, I just wanted to ask where the canteen is." Tang Lu looked at other people's bodies but didn't panic at all. Dai Mubai quickly put on his trousers to cover his vitals, and said speechlessly, "Don't you know that you have to knock before entering?" Tang Lu exited the dormitory, closing the door behind him, then knocked on the outside and pushed it open again. "Are you okay now?" After Tang Lu said this, he closed the door again and walked towards the last wooden house, Dai Mubai. Tang Lu was a little embarrassed when he suddenly looked at others, but luckily he had lived twice and was thick-skinned enough. Moreover, we are all classmates, and we are all still children, so if we see it all, we will see it all. Anyway, it's not like I haven't seen other men in the dormitory in my previous life, yeah. But Dai Mubai has a much better figure than those roommates in his previous life who either chopped chickens for nothing or fattened up sows, according to the original novel. Oscar should still be sleeping now, so he opened the door so carelessly, but he didn't expect that the first one he opened was Dai Mubai's dormitory. "Uncle Oscar, are you here?" Tang Lu shouted, then opened the door again and walked in. "Oscar." "Tang Lu." A high-pitched shout rang out in Shrek Academy. "Why didn't you knock on the door?" Oscar covered his body with the quilt and looked at Tang Lu in horror as he pushed the door open. Tang Lu's head was covered with black lines. "You should be sleeping now, why are you changing your clothes? You and that guy Dai Mubai have agreed to make me grow needle holes, right? It's broad daylight, can't I get up after I've had enough sleep? And it's almost time for dinner in the cafeteria, okay?" Oscar said with a dark face, tightly wrapped in quilt. "Don't worry so much, quickly put on your clothes." Tang Lu also had a dark face, then walked in and closed the door. "What do you want to do?" Oscar looked at him warily and retracted his head into the quilt, leaving only his eyes exposed. "No. Tell me, where is the canteen?" Tang Lu, who knew that this kind of thing would get darker and darker, decided not to dwell too much on it, and planned to cut through the mess quickly and leave quickly. "It's just east of the college. After you leave the dormitory, keep walking in that direction until you see the wooden house with the canteen sign." Oscar then hesitantly revealed his head and said, "Thank you. Also, your lower body is exposed." Tang Lu nodded, then glanced at Oscar, opened the door and left. Oscar, who had always felt a little cold, bowed his head when he heard this. "Oscar. Little Oscar." Listening to the screams coming from the room, Tang Lu shook his head speechlessly, with a look of disgust on his face. Looking up, he saw Dai Mubai standing there not far away looking at him with a half-smile. "How about it, do you dare to enter other people's dormitories without knocking on the door again?" Dai Mubai joked. Tang Lu glared at him. "I want you to take care of it." Dai Mubai smiled and said nothing. "By the way, why are you still here? Why aren't you looking for my brother and the others?" Tang Lu remembered this matter and asked. "You mean Tang San?" Dai Mubai was stunned and said, "Where are they and why should I look for them?" Tang Lu slapped his forehead. He was still in the mood to eat. He turned around and ran towards the outside of Shrek Academy. At this moment, there were only 4 words butterfly effect left in his mind. Chapter 48 Hongjun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hope it's too late. After all, Tang San, who didn't attack with all his strength, will suffer a loss when he meets Hongjun. His blue-silver grass doesn't have fire immunity or ice immunity attributes yet. Dai Mubai looked at Tang Lu running away, hesitant, but then followed him. When Tang Lu found him with the Howlon mark left in Tang San's body, he happened to see Xiao Wu taking action against a fat man with purple flames coming out of his body. If nothing else, that fat man is one of the first 7 monsters. Hongjun, seeing that Xiao Wu was about to kick Hongjun, and when his shoes were burned by the phoenix evil fire, he took action. The void spirit blue silver emperor was released, and 3 soul rings, 1 yellow, 1 purple, and 1 black, rose up, and then the first soul ring started to shine, the first soul skill, the control of virtual spirits. Xiao Wu's left arm was instantly wrapped with a piece of void spirit blue silver emperor, and then she penetrated into Ma Hongjun's body, but jumped away again the next second, and at the same time she exclaimed, "Okay. Hot." It is true that the control of the virtual spirit can make people immune to most attacks, but the feelings in those attacks will not be immune. For example, Xiao Wu now feels the high temperature of the phoenix evil fire burning on Ma Hongjun. Although the high temperature would not cause any harm to Xiao Wu due to the existence of the void spirit control, the hot feeling at that moment was still transmitted to Xiao Wu's brain exactly. Ma Hongjun was also a little dazed because Xiao Wu had just passed through his body, and now he stood there and forgot to attack. Tang San, who was watching the battle, immediately spotted the ethereal blue-silver emperor wrapped around Xiao Wu's left arm. He turned around in surprise and happened to see Tang Lu running over and having withdrawn his martial spirit, and Tang San. Dai Mubai followed behind Lu. "Xiao Lu. Why are you here?" he said in surprise. Tang Lu ran up to him, took a deep breath, and then joked, "Come here to stop you. Don't accidentally kill that fat man." It was also at this time that he realized that Tang San had just used the word you, so he looked back and found Dai Mubai. "Tang San, Xiao Wu, fatty, how did you meet each other?" Dai Mubai was a little surprised when he saw the 3 of them from a distance, so he said after coming to Tang San. However, after seeing the girl behind Ma Hongjun, he understood. "Oh, let me introduce to you first. That fat guy over there is the 3rd college in the academy besides me and Xiao Ao. It's called Ma Hongjun. Wu Huan is just a grass chicken, but a mutated grass chicken." Dai Mubai told Tang San. Xiao Wu said, "You are just a loser, I am a phoenix." Ma Hongjun said angrily. Dai Mubai ignored him and continued to explain to Tang San and Xiao Wu, he was brought back by the dean personally, and he is the direct disciple of the dean. According to the dean, all the people in their village have no attack power. He was a paltry martial soul, but when he was born, he mutated and was born with the ability to fire. The dean said that when his soul power increases, he might actually become a phoenix. However, his martial soul has a flaw, that is, he will produce evil fire when he practices, and he needs to vent it frequently, otherwise he will explode and die. This is why he often goes out to find women, and it is also approved by the dean. It's hard to suppress the evil fire. Ma Hongjun said with a bitter smile at this time. After hearing this, Xiao Wu's cheeks instantly turned red. She spat softly and said, "There are really all kinds of martial spirits." Tang San, on the other hand, subconsciously covered Tang Lu's eyes next to him first, then suddenly realized something was wrong, and instantly covered his ears. Tang Lu rolled his eyes. Why was Mao's first reaction to cover my eyes? Do you think you will be deaf as long as I can't see? Also, I know much more about things like this than you, a guy who hasn't been out of the Tang sect for more than 20 years, okay? Of course, he would not say these words out loud, he would only complain in his heart. Then Dai Mubai introduced them to Ma Hongjun. These 3 are Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Tang Lu. They are the new students who have passed the college assessment this year. After saying that, he looked at Tang San and Xiao Wu again and said, "By the way, Tang San, what are you doing here?" Tang San smiled bitterly and said, "We came out to see where we could eat, and we ended up here while walking." Dai Mubai nodded and said, "It's my fault that I didn't tell you the location of the college cafeteria. It just so happens that I haven't eaten either, so I'll take you there with me. By the way, Mubai, why did you and Xiao Lu come to find us?" Tang San asked as he walked back. "That's right, and Xiao Lu, why did you stop me from beating this fat man and causing me to get burned?" When mentioning this, Xiao Wu looked at Tang Lu with dissatisfaction and said, "What's wrong with fat people? My name is Ma Hongjun, young master." Ma Hongjun on the side protested. "If I don't use the void spirit control on you, you will be burned. Even if you are not burned, you still need to wear a pair of shoes." Tang Lu explained. If that's the case, then I'll let you go. Xiao Wu then gave up, but Tang Lu continued, furthermore, if you are injured by this fat man, what if my brother goes crazy again and shoots him with a hidden weapon? You think so, brother? Not at the end of the sentence, Tang Lu nudged Tang San beside him with his elbow ill-intentioned. Tang San and Xiao Wu's faces turned red almost at the same time. What are you talking about? No big or small. Tang San raised his hand and knocked Tang Lu on the head, glaring at him. He. Tang Lu smiled and did not continue talking. I told you I'm not called Fatty, my name is Ma Hongjun. Ma Hongjun was still struggling. Dai Mubai patted his shoulder and said with a wicked smile, Fat man, who told you to have such a body shape? So relax, just follow it. Ma Hongjun. We must break off our friendship. Dai Mubai also answered Tang San's previous question at this time. I followed Tang Lu here. When we were in the academy before, he suddenly ran away, and I followed over and saw you and Fatty. He said, so everyone looked at Tang Lu again. Hey, brother, have you forgotten that I still have that move? Tang Lu began to wink at Tang San, reminding him about his third martial spirit. Tang San understood, so he said, so, is it the tracking effect of your martial spirit? Since Tang San didn't say it clearly, Xiao Wu and Dai Mubai naturally thought that he was talking about Tang Lu's void spirit blue silver emperor martial spirit. Ma Hongjun, who had never seen Tang Lu's martial spirit, thought that Tang Lu's martial spirit had the ability to track. Tang Lu nodded, yes, relying on Wuhuan's innate ability. I felt that you might be in trouble, so I came here. Several people nodded slightly. Chapter 49 Flanders. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the way back to the academy, Tang San would ask Dai Mubai about the situation of Shrek Academy from time to time, and Dai Mubai would answer readily. Tang Lu, Xiao Wu, and Ma Hongjun would interject from time to time, but let the atmosphere between the few people not seem so heavy. Dai Mubai took a few people to the cafeteria, and then met Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing who were also eating. As for Oscar, he might have been stimulated by Tang Lu this morning, so he continued to sleep in, but he didn't come. The breakfast in the cafeteria is very simple, just plain porridge and steamed buns, but fortunately it is enough. After Tang Lu finished eating quickly, he woke up the sleeping little Fu Ni and started feeding it dried meat, which naturally attracted everyone's attention again. It's so cute. Is this the jade spirit fox? Did you raise it? I wanted to ask you when I saw it yesterday. What's its name? Ning Rongrong asked with a smile, looking into little Forney's eyes. It seems like little stars are popping up. It's called Xiao Funi, and it's a century-old jade spirit fox. Tang Lu replied. Can I touch it? Ning Rongrong asked, with a hint of pleading on his face, but Tang Lu, who knew her true nature well, naturally understood that she was pretending, so he also started to show off his acting skills. I don't know about this anymore. It depends on whether it is willing. Otherwise, you can give it a try. Tang Lu made a troubled expression, then picked up little Funi and handed it to Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong was about to reach out and take it, but little Funi broke free from Tang Lu's hand, and then quickly climbed into his clothes along his arm, never showing up again. It seems that it doesn't want to. A look of disappointment flashed in Ning Rongrong's eyes. It's okay. If you feed it something someday, maybe it will be willing to touch you. Tang Lu pretended to comfort him. The atmosphere at the dinner table is always the most harmonious and lively, so after breakfast, the distance between the few people has shortened a lot, but how long can a breakfast last? Therefore, after quickly receiving the message from Flanders requesting to assemble, they quickly rushed towards the playground. On the way to the playground, Tang Lu quietly said to Tang San, brother, when you go to pay the tuition later, I will pay it for you. Tang San frowned and refused, no, I am your brother, how can I ask you to pay my tuition? If you want to pay it, I will pay it for you. Just listen to me, brother. I don't want to use my money to pay your tuition, but the money Dad gave me. Tang Lu said with a smile. Tang San originally wanted to refuse, but after hearing Tang Lu's last words, he immediately fell silent, then nodded slightly and agreed, okay. Tang Lu chuckled and took the initiative to hold his hand. For a moment, both of them felt that a warm current was slowly flowing through them in the deepest part of their hearts. They are finally children whose parents help pay their tuition fees. When they arrived at the playground, Oscar was already standing there, holding a sausage made with his own soul power. However, now he has shaved off his beard, revealing his extremely handsome face. In the original book, it is said that Oscar is the best looking among the 7 monsters. Now that I see him, he is really amazing. If Dai Mubai's appearance is handsome with a military-like fortitude, then Oscar is a handsome young man. Currently, the only one who can compare with these two people is Tang Lu. However, since Tang Lu hadn't grown up yet, his appearance was more cute. Although he was still handsome, he looked more like a child compared to Dai Mubai and Oscar. The newcomers were all surprised when they saw Oscar, and even the cold Zhu Zhuqing's eyes flashed with a hint of emotion. Are you really only 14 years old? Xiao Wu couldn't help but ask. Oscar said dejectedly, it's not like you don't know the rules of our academy. If I hadn't been 14 years old now, I wouldn't have been able to enter the academy before. I just have thicker hair. Even though he said this, Tang San and Xiao Wu still felt a little unbelievable. The world is so big, there are all kinds of wonders. Tang Lu said nonchalantly, we are also 12 years old, but I am so much shorter than you. Comparing this, when you are 14 years old, you will not have as many beards as he does. It doesn't look weird anymore. Tang San. Xiao Wu. The rest. Well, what you said makes sense. Originally, Oscar looked at him with some resentment because of what happened to Tang Lu in the morning. But after hearing what Tang Lu said, the resentment immediately disappeared, and instead took on the meaning of sympathy. At this time, a middle-aged man slowly walked over from the entrance. After seeing the middle-aged man, Tang San and Xiao Wu were both shocked. Isn't this the profiteer uncle we met? Xiao Wu said in surprise. Uncle Profiteer, this is the dean of our Shrek Academy, the founder of Shrek Academy. Oscar said in surprise, he is called Flanders, the four-eyed owl, and he is a level 78, Soul Saint has a flying beast-like martial spirit. This is quite rare among fighting soul masters. Fatty is his direct disciple. Fortunately, it's only level 78. Xiao Wu murmured, I didn't expect that the classic saying about only accepting monsters and not ordinary people would come from his mouth. Tang Lu suddenly said at this moment, we Shrek don't have Contra. Oscar and Xiao Wu glanced at him at the same time, both a little surprised. Yes, there are no more than 100 Contras on the entire continent, and there are only about 10 titled Douluo. However, I believe it won't take long for the dean to reach the Contra level. Oscar shook his head, said. Yes. Tang Lu responded lightly and said nothing more, but Xiao Wu quietly breathed a sigh of relief, and then said to Tang San, Xiao San, do you think this uncle will still remember us? Tang San smiled bitterly, it's only been 2 days, he probably won't forget it. However, since he is the dean, he shouldn't care about your offense to him. Oscar laughed maliciously at this time and whispered, you are wrong about this. Our Dean Flanders is famous for holding grudges. However, his greatest advantage is that he protects his shortcomings. At this moment, Flanders, who was walking towards them, suddenly glanced at them, with a trace of amusement flashing in his eyes. Oscar was immediately horrified, oh no, he might have heard what I said. This is going to be terrible. Flanders glanced at him again, but ignored him, walked up to a total of 8 students, and then said in his unique and somewhat hoarse magnetic voice, this year is very good, we have 5 more students. Little monster. I, Flanders, the principal of Shrek Academy, welcome you on behalf of the Academy. Later, each of you will pay 100 gold soul coins to Teacher Li, who is in charge of finance. Mubai. Chapter 50 Cliff Jumping, Cave, Grandpa's 3-piece suit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dean. Dai Mubai took a step forward. You will tell the 5 new students about the rules of the academy later, and then go back to rest and adjust to the best possible condition. Today's first class will start in the evening. Yes. Dai Mubai responded, and then retreated into the group of several people. As for Oscar, Ning Rongrong, and Tang Lu, you three are the exception. Come with me. Flanders looked at the three people he named respectively and said. Oscar walked up to Flanders reluctantly and saluted. His expression became better after seeing Ning Rongrong walking beside him, but Tang Lu did not go over, but looked at Flanders and said, Dean, I also want to go there at night. Flanders looked at him in surprise and said, you know. Tang Lu nodded, I want to have a fight. But you are an auxiliary soul master. Flanders said with interest. Then let's participate in the 2 versus 2 match. Tang Lu said matter-of-factly. Okay, then you don't have to come. Just go to class in the evening. Flanders smiled and nodded, then indicated that they could go back to rest. Zhu Zhuqing was the first to leave, followed by Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun. After watching Flanders leave with Oscar and Ning Rongrong, Tang Lu breathed a sigh of relief. Great, no need to run. Then, he pulled Tang San, and Tang San pulled Xiao Wu, and the three of them left. Xiao Lu, do you know what class we are going to have tonight? Tang San asked curiously, and Xiao Wu also listened intently. Tang Lu nodded and said, if nothing goes wrong, the dean will take us to the great soul fighting arena in Soto City to participate in the soul fighting competition tonight. Tang San and Xiao Wu became even more curious when they heard these two unfamiliar terms. Simply put, it is a place specifically for soul masters to fight for others to watch, and it also supports gambling. Tang Lu said. Ah. Doesn't that mean you treat people like monkeys? Xiao Wu said in surprise after understanding the meaning. Tang Lu shrugged and said, it's hard to be a human being. This is just a legal darkness where the world stands in the light. Moreover, you can just treat it as an ordinary fighting game. Just protect yourself carefully, because you can kill people there. Tang San nodded in deep agreement. Xiao Wu always felt that Tang Lu's first sentence meant something, but she didn't go into it deeply. Then, Tang Lu briefly introduced them to the rules of the Great Spirit Fighting Arena. However, he didn't remember the details very clearly, so he didn't dare to tell. You can only find out more about it when you go there at night. After that, the three of them went back to their dormitories to rest. Naturally, Tang San, who was free, began to ask Tang Lu to tell him about the past few years. Tang Lu was also happy to communicate with him, and chose some things that Tang San could know now and told him. He concealed it very well. Tang San still thought Tang Hao was just an ordinary blacksmith. And Tang Lu told Tang San that his soul ring was hunted for him by a master he accidentally worshipped when he was outside in the past few years. As a modern person who has been influenced by countless online novels, Tang Lu is not very good at compiling these. In his story, when he secretly went to obtain the second soul ring without telling Tang Hao, he accidentally fell off the cliff. And under the cliff, there happened to be a crooked neck tree that caught him. Later, when he climbed up the tree, he actually found a cave. After he entered, he found an old man in the cave. Moreover, that old man was actually a titled Douluo. The old man said that he was talented, so he wanted to accept him as his disciple. After becoming a disciple, the old man took him to fly up the cliff, and then went to get the second soul ring and let him go home. Tell him that when he reaches the third ring, he will appear again to help him obtain the soul ring. Just like that, blah blah blah, Tang Lu successfully fooled Tang San. Taking a sip of water to moisten his somewhat dry mouth, Tang Lu glanced at Tang San's unfinished expression, and secretly apologized in his heart. I'm sorry, brother, in order to prevent the plot from deflecting too much, your cultivation has gone out the window. Error, I can only lie to you like this first. However, I can tell you everything after the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Soul Fighting Competition begins. At that time, the blame will be thrown entirely on Tang Hao. Yeah, perfect. By the way, after telling Tang San the stories of the past few years, Tang Lu and Tang San went to pay their tuition. Tang Lu richly paid the tuition fees for himself and Tang San with the money given by Tang Hao, while Tang San had to pay for Xiao Wu, because basically all of Xiao Wu's money was with him. Later, Flanders even came to see Tang San once. Tang Lu, who knew the plot, naturally knew that Flanders was here for the master's situation. night comes quickly. The group gathered on the playground again to prepare for evening classes. Flanders kept focusing on Oscar and Ning Rongrong. His eyes were as sharp as swords, making people dare not look at them. "Oscar, have you finished 20 laps?" he said. Oscar coughed and nodded. "Dean, I'm done." Flanders snorted and said, "I'm asking you, not you." Oscar glanced at Ning Rongrong and found that Ning Rongrong was also looking at him. Then he gritted his teeth and said, "Yes, we have finished running." Flanders smiled extremely sinisterly. "Very well, Oscar, I didn't expect you to be very friendly. If that's the case, you can run another 20 laps and let me see how deep your friendship is. If you don't run, that's it, no need to eat." After patting Oscar on the shoulder, he continued, "I have sealed your soul power. There is no need to try to lift it, just go ahead." Oscar nodded silently, turned around and ran outside. Then he looked at Ning Rongrong, who looked innocent and pitiful, and said, "Tell me, have you completed the lessons I assigned you in the morning?" Ning Rongrong shook his head and said, "I don't. The distance is too long, and I'm hungry, so I can't hold on." Flanders smiled and said, "So, you went to Soto City alone to have a big meal, and also walked around the commercial street there. You just came back to find Oscar, right?" Ning Rongrong widened her beautiful big eyes. "Are you spying on me? As the dean, I am responsible for every student in the academy. If Oscar made a mistake because he couldn't bear to let you be punished, and there are extenuating circumstances, then the mistake you made is an unforgivable crime." Rand's expression and tone became colder. "Leaving the academy without permission, not following the academy's arrangements, and letting the seniors lie for you are not mistakes that an outstanding soul master should make. If this is on the battlefield, there is only one result for you, and that is military law, and you will die."